Alright guys, welcome to the stream. Here we're taking a look at the outside of the bus. I just wanted to show you guys what it's looking like at the moment. I have the battery box open so you could look at that configuration as well. And you get to see the little dash of snow that's on the old gal as well. And then we can take a look inside to see what it looks like at the moment inside as well. Got the old situation on the desk. I was playing some Nintendo earlier, obviously, and then we get to look at the podcast area. You get to look at me. What's up, everybody? So really quick, I just want to, before I enter, how I normally enter, I just want to say hi. How you guys are doing. I hope you are doing well. Taking a look at the YouTube end of things. So if you guys have any questions or comments while I'm doing this stream, it's going to be a pretty impactful one. So hopefully get some interaction. If not, no big deal. I will still be getting the message across that I need accordingly. But it would not be a Bard's Q&A without opening with some sensual guitars. So let me play a little bit of something that I've been kind of working on lately, and yeah, hopefully you like it. And if you don't, sorry. So that's how we will open the stream. Alright guys, so let me untangle that. So there you go. I hope you guys are doing well. So a lot has happened. You're probably wondering, Brad, it's been a sporadic couple of months. What have you been up to? You've been putting out a lot of different types of videos and not necessarily the ones we're used to. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So for those of you paying attention to my posts on social media and other things like that, and in my Discord server, you would know that I am having some issues with the bus's engine. It's having some misfiring issues, yada yada. If you're curious about that, ask me in the comments, and I'll point you to the articles that I've been typing up about the issues and what I've been doing. I won't make this a lengthy explanation about that, but I will say that I have made the decision to relinquish the bus. I will be selling the bus probably sometime in the next couple weeks, so that is why I've been bringing the podcast back onto the bus for as many episodes as I can to try to relish every moment that I possibly can with the sweet bus. So you'll probably see a couple more this week, but like I said, in the next week or so, I'm going to be getting rid of the bus. I'm going to be selling it. And it is going to be back to square one, sort of, with how I'm going to be carrying the bus project, or not the bus project, but the podcast project. You see, there was a time where I began the podcast with the intention of turning the bus into something that it exists as today. But when I first started, the seats were a lot closer together, and it was not nearly as nicely fleshed out as it is now. Then I had a stint of working on the bus and some intermissions in between there where I was doing the podcast and not doing the podcast, yada yada. And I was building the bus up, but what I was doing was I was actually traveling to the locations where my guests were located, and from there I was having them on the podcast and doing the discussion and demonstrations at their location. So I will most likely be continuing to do that. That means you can expect me to be setting up some podcast stuff in your jiu-jitsu gyms, in your other types of gyms, in your offices, in your laboratories, or whatever it might be that you do. If you are a future guest for my show, that is what you can expect. Next, I just want to talk a little bit about what my goals were with the bus, right? So I had set the goal out last year to reach 1,000 subscribers at the end of the year. And the bus kind of took a turn for the worst in about October. That's when I started having issues with it where it was driving so unstably. Like, I never had an issue where like the bus's engine completely took a shit, but it was hitting walls where I couldn't go past like 10 miles an hour up hills and stuff like that. And it was, it became an issue, and I don't have the means to remedy such an issue as this. So what I have decided to do is, or had decided to do from there, was to take it to a shop to get it looked at. And that's why I was kind of incognito for like 2 months there. And then once I got it back, I started bringing the podcast back online. In that time, I'm kind of going like on some tangents here, but in that time I was putting out some videos, but obviously different content than what you were used to seeing, just some tutorials and other video ideas that I had for a while that I didn't have time to put together until that time when I had a little bit more of a stable situation to figure things out and start putting some of those ideas to paper because I needed to do something. Now, I still have tons of videos to edit, and I plan on still doing that. Everything that was on my release schedule is still going to be coming out. I still plan on doing a lot of collaborations and stuff like that. Anyway, let me come back to the sentiment that I was talking about earlier, because I am going all over the place, as I tend to do. I had the goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers at the end of the year. And because I did not meet that, I made a promise to myself that if I could not do that, that is a simple goal that I should be able to meet if my podcast was a successful project and it was something that was reasonable to count on for my success in the future doing a creative endeavor and, becoming financially stable based on that. I am not going to be abolishing the podcast, so don't jump to the conclusion that that's what I might be doing right now. I could see how that could be the hint at what's going on in your heads from hearing what I just said. I am merely going to be strategizing new ways of load balancing the ideas that I have. I want to focus more on the music end of things. I want to focus more on the film end of things with B&B Media and things like this. And I will be doing a lot of projects such as those things and collaborating with more people to try to build and branch out into other aspects of doing these creative projects that I so love and am passionate about. So with that said, the bus is going to, at the moment, not be part of the future of this project, although it will sorely be missed because I have spent, more than 6 months living in this thing, and as much of an adventure and a hassle as it has been in many different ways, it has been an incredible journey. And though I did not succeed in that one goal that I mentioned, where I wanted to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, it does not mean that this project was a failure. In fact, I would say quite the contrary. I have built incredible connections with some of the most amazing people that I've ever met in my entire life in the last couple years. Um, I have been able to test my limits in a lot of different capacities, physically, mentally, and otherwise. I've been able to really put my creative energy into a project that I got to see to somewhat of an end. I wasn't able to finish the bus and like put a shower and everything in here, but I had always wanted to put together a very nice and fully functional solar studio, so to speak. And that's what I did. I had made, I had done that. That was one of the coolest things I think that came out of this project, was that all the solar stuff is finished, and I'm really happy about that. There are so many pieces to this puzzle that uh, maybe are not the most complete. Like all the pieces maybe are not together, but the edges are definitely done, and I have some pieces of the puzzle that I completed. And sometimes you're missing just a piece that'll ruin your entire puzzle. And at this point, I'm satisfied with the pieces that I have laid out in this puzzle. Sorry to like go super into that analogy. Just looking at my comments here. Do you fear that more arms in your branching makes those arms more brittle? So yeah, that's a great question. I've always been like a big proponent of putting your eggs in multiple baskets. And I heard this quote recently that's really cool. And I hope I can tie this together. But it's the quote about the jack of all trades, right? The jack of all trades is a master of none, right? That was the quote that I had heard leading up to the idea of this podcast, right? Like I'm the average guy. I'm not like the famous musician. I'm not, the world-class jiu-jitsu competitor or any of the things that, were the foundational pieces of the episodes that had been coming out for the podcast. But recently, earlier this like at the very end of 2021, I had found out that actually is not the full quote. And it was a really cool thing to hear, because the full quote goes, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but is oftentimes better than a master of one." And I really resonated with that, because you can be a specialist in one thing, but you're putting all your eggs in one basket in that capacity. And if that one thing fails, you're screwed. Me, I'm putting a little bit less resources, or I'm taking the same resource pool and putting it into a lot of different things with different risk tolerances, right? Some things are crazy, right? Like this bus idea, not the most sane idea by conventional societal standards, but I was able to make it work. And right now, like you see me, I'm in a t-shirt and it's winter outside, right? Like I have my beanie on because I like wearing a beanie, but I have heat in here. Like this was planned to be a fully sustainable thing throughout the winter. And I was going to go down south for the winter and do a ton of different things there with that. But this was one project that if this one happens to fail, it's still an investment, right? Like I'm still going to be able to pull money out of this that I can reallocate to another place. And it was not a waste of time for some of the reasons that I had described earlier as well. To tie that back into the question about too many arms or too many branches becoming brittle, certainly that is a thing, as we're seeing now. But there are other things, like the connections that I built with a lot of people, like the resources that I was able to amass, the skills that I was able to acquire. There are tons of different things that I was able to gather because of having a lot of these different eggs hatch. So now I have tiny baby dragons, where there are also some dead dragon eggs. So these dragons can grow into monstrous beasts that will help me in the future, perhaps. And it is worth having a few of those guys rather than me focusing on, you know, making sure this one batch of dragon eggs hatches. I've turned them into dragons instead of chickens because dragons are cooler. Okay, cool. So I will address another question by Vedinian, one of my amazing sponsors out there as well. And that's another thing. Like the sponsors that I got, I don't want to let anyone down with this project. I still think that I have value to give. And I'm going to address your question, but I'm on this sentiment now. When I started this project, I remember having a conversation in my early days of doing this podcast. I had a team behind me, and my friend Joe at that time. We were talking about that, like what makes a good YouTube channel, and like just theorizing different things about, you know, what makes a channel go viral, different things like that, right? So one of the things that I knew I wanted to be at the core of my channel, and really at the core of every project that I do that is a creative endeavor of mine, is, does the thing that I am creating make the world a better place? And I can confidently say for this specific project, the answer is yes. And I never want to let anyone down that is looking up to me, because I encourage other people to try this. I want other people to try the schooly thing. I want my sponsors to have a good platform. I want them to believe that I am confident that, I want my viewers to be confident that I'm not, you know, I would never take like a sponsorship from someone I deem unethical, like Mark Zuckerberg, for example, the bane of mine and your existence. But that's such a big theme of everything that I do. If it's not making the world a better place, I don't really want it to do it. Period. That's literally it for everything. It's one of the reasons I got out of the corporate world. Anyway, let me take a look at some of these other comments and stuff here. So yeah, the solar office is awesome. Would the new buyer keep those? So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about the buyer of the bus. So he's a guy that lives maybe less than 2 hours from here, driving normally. And if he takes the bus, it's likely that he's going to take 3 to 4 hours because it's going slower, and the cold weather affects diesel engines a lot differently than it affects like a gasoline engine. Now, with that said, he is a diesel mechanic, and he was telling me some plans that he has, and we discussed a lot of the things, and really, I'm giving him the entire bus as it exists. The monitors in here, the seats, the fridge, the bed, everything that he wants is staying. One of the biggest things that I'm like really like heartbroken about is that I will be losing my sticker wall that I put so much effort into creating, because that is one thing that will never be complete per se, which is unfortunate. But hey, man, that is what it is. Well, there's more stickers out there. There's more. I'll just have to have everyone back on the show to replace them that I had on, and you know, that's just one little piece that obviously is going to be staying. But I will be taking my posters out, and all the podcast equipment. The desk will be staying. All the things that I built, like the closet and the dresser. There are some things that are really nicely done in here, and that was the big intention behind the bus. Like I wanted to do. Could I do it for free? It doesn't matter what it looks like or how like it works, right? Like it's going in, like, because it's free. Like that was like no questions asked. Is it going to cost me money? Then the question comes into play where, if it's going to cost me money, how do I make it so that I never need to worry about this again once it's done? So if I need to actually pour money into a modification on the bus, such as the solar panels, I want to do it right the first time, and I want to make sure that it is done to a standard of excellence. So the solar panels installation was one example of that. Obviously, the battery box, I had a custom built battery box installed that that houses like the inverter and all the other batteries and everything like that. So there are certain things that I had done that were put to, you know, if I had to put money in, I wanted it done correctly. But if I didn't have to put money in, if I could find like something on Craigslist, or you know, someone was you know, getting rid of a dresser or something, I would do that. But like the dresser that I have in here, which I actually really like that dresser, but I purpose built the closet to fit that and everything. So I will be leaving that, but it locks. And that was a big thing. Like, okay, if I'm going to need to buy a dresser that's going to fit in the bus over the wheel well, what does it need to do for me? So that will stay. And then there's a few other things like that. Great question though. Thank you for your question. And, I don't want to make this stream too incredibly long. So if there's anyone out there that is watching that is curious about any other specific things, let me know, because I will be bringing this to a close shortly. But there are a few other things that I want to address really quickly that are maybe incomplete that have to do directly with the bus. And I'll start at like the very back. So one thing was, if you watched at the very beginning of the video, maybe you can see it, but I have this water tank and I wanted to put in like a shower and stuff like that. That obviously will be a task for the next guy at this point, but the resources are there. I wanted to put in a shower and like a toilet and like a sink and a kitchenette, and it was going to be like this really cool fleshed out idea. But at the moment, obviously I cannot do that because I am getting rid of the bus. So it will be the task for the next guy. And like the idea behind that was then I could go to a lot more jiu-jitsu gyms, because I was pretty purposely avoiding jiu-jitsu gyms on my journey that did not have a shower, because I don't have one. So if I'm going to come train with you after I have you on the podcast, I need a shower. So that was a pretty important thing to have. Then we can take a little step outside of the bus, and you could see it at the very beginning of this stream where I discussed, or where I showed you guys the outside of the bus, where one of my guests and good friends, Jess Bermudez, who I had on the podcast, had painted like a mural thing on the side of the bus. And this was like a heartbreaking thing for me, honestly, because I really wanted the whole bus to be this giant collaborative entity where I was going to have different artists come on and paint different pieces of the bus, and it was going to be this giant like mural thing. But geez, man, relax. But that never panned out. So that's another example of something that did not work out. That's pretty unfortunate. That phone call screwed me up. Sorry about that, guys. And then we can move a little bit more forward here. I had a more fleshed out idea about how I wanted to do like the propane situation. Obviously the heater's fine. Like I'm chilling in here right now. This is fine. But I wanted like a stove and some other things and amenities that were going to tie in with that, as far as like hot water, etc. And then obviously the other wheel well is kind of like a disaster at this point. Because it's just got that folding table over it. I was going to put the kitchenette over that as well, and that was kind of the plan with that space. And I was really enjoying the minimalism thing, because one huge benefit I got out of it was managing my resources in a way that... Let me give you a really cool example that if you're a musician out there, or maybe a person who has like knives or guns or something like that, some precious metals that need to be maintained, right? So it's really cool to have a lot of guitars. But if you're not going to take care of the guitars and keep the strings fresh and the neck lubricated and things like this, you're actually not doing a very good job of taking care of those guitars. You know what I mean? So it's better to have a few guitars, or one, or however many you need, so that the ones that you're actively using are the ones you're doing active maintenance on. Same idea with like a gun, right? Like you don't want your barrel to get rusty, so you keep it lubricated. Same thing with like a good knife. You need to keep your knife sharp. You don't want 100 knives in your collection, because eventually if you're not keeping them in a nice area, they're gonna start to rust and you're gonna lose the quality. So I hope that's a good example that you guys can understand. I have more comments here that I want to take a look at. Convert the bus to Tesla electric. I actually had this idea where I was going to look at putting an electric motor in the bus. But the thing is, even with the solar, you would get very limited power from the bus, like from the solar. Like you would need to charge it an immense amount, and the battery bank would be so heavy. Like I'm sure school districts that use electric school buses have it figured out, but man, I certainly did not want to look into doing all that because I think it would be a lot more expensive. As much as I think in the future, it's going to be really cool to see people do that with vehicles. I think just today on Reddit, I saw someone put like solar panels on their Prius to charge it while like they park their car, and I think 100% that's a super cool solution. As far as Tesla's ethics on maintenance and stuff, I don't know if the Tesla route is exactly the way I would have wanted to go with them being anti-right to repair. I need a very like liberal company that's going to be very like, yeah, dude, here's schematics on how to do everything based on like what we've done in the past. Like, I wish things were more. I wish open source was more popularized. That's kind of what I'm trying to say there. Yeah, I'm trying to think about anything else that I wanted to talk about. Man, I'm changing. I just realized I'm like changing the lighting every time I move. That's another thing about the bus. Dude, I'll say, man, this project was insane. Um, I got to do some pretty crazy stuff in here, uh, and meet some really awesome people, man. It was so fun, dude. um, but yeah. Oh, we got a couple more. Contact Rich, dude. I actually did contact Rich Rebuilds. I contacted the Electrify Garage and like a few of those people. And they never really got back to me about stuff, which is unfortunate. They like replied to my first email, and I'm like, yeah, like this is who I am, and then they just kind of went dark on me. So I need to grow as a bigger YouTuber for them to want to collaborate, I guess. Um, yeah, that's so funny. And then buy a generator to create the electricity to charge the batteries. That's like so funny. Back asswards. Um, yeah, man, I wanted to do like some awesome stuff like that. I wanted this thing to be an insane like collaboration machine, but you know, this basket is still here. And by basket I mean the idea. The path still exists. This bus specifically is just a sick egg that I need to give to someone who can take care of sick dragon eggs. So at the moment, that is where the path is leading to. And man, lastly, all of the people who've been pretty committed members of my community and things like this, like, I really appreciate everyone that's stuck with me through like the craziness of this, and I really want to continue along with the ideas that I had in the past that I had expressed in the past about like doing a convention. I still want to do BardCon. We're gonna figure out how to do that. Still, that's still on the agenda. I think once I have like a home base, I can stabilize my situation, and then I can start chasing after bigger fish, um, and fish from the past that I had success with, such as gaming. I want to really branch out back into the music scene because COVID killed the music scenes, and specifically for me, I was very active in the music community in Berks County, and that kind of went away until just recently. So we will be addressing that in the next chapter. And I really want to stream gaming. I was in discussions with some people about streaming board games and doing other really cool things like that. Some stuff that I haven't seen that I'm sure is out there that I think I could do well. I'm going to be going after. Like, there are ideas I have where I want to stream open mics that I host, to kind of build up the local community and things like that with the musicians and stuff. I don't know. I don't want to go too crazy down these rabbit holes, actually. I'm going to kind of end those sentiments there because if you want to know more, keep in touch and join the Discord server and keep in touch with me on Instagram and things like that. As much as I loathe the need for these Facebook products. Anyway, what do we got here? Indeed, the bus does not call for the end of the idea. In fact, I could always get a different bus that's more suitable for the project. I think in the future, um, it might be cool to create maybe a short bus or maybe a van. I think ideally, if I could do it all over again, I've been saying this, I would do an ambulance because I really like the way that they're built foundationally. I think that you could do more with the space easier, maybe. I don't know. I can't confirm, but I've seen the insides of some hollowed out ones and some that have been built up, and they're sick. And I think like better urban camouflage with an ambulance. Not that it would say like ambulance on the side, but like it's just like a giant box truck at the end of the day. That's all it is. So if I was gonna do it again, I think I might just do a really, really sick studio in just like that space and not have to worry about like the other amenities and things like that. Um, that's one idea that I had. So I'm just gonna take a look at um, simul stream on Twitch as just chatting. Oh, you're advising that I stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time to discuss things with people in this capacity. You know, I was doing Twitch for a while, but man, it's just so limited in like the number of products that I like 100% endorse and like am comfortable with. But like Amazon, I don't know who has more unethical practices, Amazon or Facebook. So I guess I should just use them both because I need the audience, and you know, people are going to use the audience that is convenient for them to use. Um, and hopefully League fighting game. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I'm definitely so League of Legends is putting out a fighting game we've been talking about, and I'm definitely interested. Buy a bus to tow the bus. Oh, but yeah, I want to do more fighting game stuff. Smash Bros is gonna make a comeback maybe in the streaming that I will be doing, and we'll see about the Hero and the Bard project. See if that's gonna be in the cards. Um, and yeah, that is about all that I have to say for now. I feel like there was other things, but you know, whatever. This is the last stream that will be titled, the bus tour or Bard's Journey tour, right? Like that is the tag that I've been using. So this video right here concludes the Bard's Journey tour officially. Although I may have podcasts on the bus leading up to the passing of the bus on to its next owner. And yeah, so to conclude the stream, I will play a song that is very, very meaningful to me, that I hope is something that will make your day a little bit better, and pour one out for the bus. I might have one more beer on here with a couple friends before I go. I think I would love to have like a little mini jam session here as like the final sentiment. But you know what, if I might do that. That might be like an unofficial goodbye that I might do. We'll see. We'll see what the musicians in the area are into for trying that. In any case, this is my official goodbye to the bus. So make it yours as well, guys. Viking burial bus. Yeah, send it out on the shield. All right. Yeah. So this is a song called "A Viking Funeral for Bus." Absolutely. Everyone really likes that idea. So this is a song that I wrote a while ago that is somewhere in the ether of the videos that I have put out on this platform, and it's called Rain Keeps Dripping, and I want you guys to keep an eye out because I should be recording the full version of this song, not just the acoustic version, soon, and I plan to put on a pretty cool display of music in 2022. That will be a big focal point for Brad the Bard. So join me for the journey. And here we go. Actually, you know what? I have like these mics set up. So I'm actually going to use these before I start. Sorry. All right, here we go. Ooh. And you can definitely tell that they're on. All right, here we go. Wonder how it's come to this. Crisis in our government. The trinity of existence. No answers for the curious. And what they seek is in no text. But the rain keeps dripping, and our souls come alive as one. Cause you know you've done for this. The outliers are relentless. They ruthlessly deal punishment. No gurus are immortalized. The end is near, you realize that the rain keeps dripping, and our souls come alive as dripping, and our souls come alive as one. I run the simulations of the thoughts run through my head. Erase the past, the broken glass, and all I know are dead. Remember, not just cherish things I've done for you and bled. And you know that the rain keeps dripping, and our souls come alive as one. The rain keeps dripping, and our souls come alive as one. The rain keeps dripping, and our souls come alive as one. Dripping, and our souls come alive as one. The rain keeps dripping, and our souls come alive as one. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, we got some stuff. Mine just needed fuel filter change when it lost power at full throttle. Yeah, I changed some filters and stuff, and I did research on the engine, actually. And this is a nautical engine that's in my bus, and it was not designed the best for fuel efficiency and some other things, as well as just some other things that are going to merely cost me a lot of money to investigate. And at the moment, your boy is not in the most financially stable situation to go down the rabbit hole of sorting these things out. So, a new bus perhaps is in the future. But this one, well, our time together has come to an end. Just like our time together, ladies and gentlemen, has come to an end. Thank you guys for tuning in again. I love you all. And I hope to make the world a better place with your blessing and support. Peace out.